Hello everyone, today we have our tier list for you, and this is going to finally complete the gear classes with the intelligence tier list. Just for reference though, we will later go and make one for healer, dealers, tankers, and supporters, but probably won't be right away. As with the other tier list, I'm basing this one at 8 stars and probably around like level 200 for the heroes. And of course, as always, this is my own personal opinion based by my experience inside the game. So if you don't like something or where I put it, don't take it personally. I could be wrong. This is just the way that I see it from my point of view. I like to do 4 different tiers, and based by if they're on the left side or the right side has no significance at all. It's just, hey, they're in the row. It might be a little bit better, a little bit worse, but ideally they're all about the same rank. Out of all 4 of those tiers, the bottom one being I'll wait for a balance, meaning that they really need some sort of change in it to make this at least a base standard hero. It's okay is going to be just kind of your standard, hey, this is okay. This is what's average inside the game. While it's impressive is going to be something that I see in there that just makes it take it a little bit to the next level. And of course, over 9,000 for the DBZ fans, this is going to be something that's just totally broken inside the game, in my opinion. The first hero that I think needs a balance is going to be Aruro, and I will say there are some things that I do like in this, but an overall look at this hero just seems kind of underwhelming for me. I do like the idea of the removal of crowd control and even the adding of crit when it comes to having other beast or horde heroes on the screen, but it really makes it seem like this hero is mainly used for Ancestral Tomb and doesn't really have a lot of impact outside of it. The next one I think needs a balance change is going to be Galan, and I will say these sandstorms can be pretty annoying, but the attack itself for the active skill just doesn't seem like a whole lot, and even the awaken skill of just increasing that sandstorm doesn't really seem to do too much. Going up against this enemy, as I said, yeah, those sandstorms can be annoying, but it's not anything that really seems to make or break the battle for me. I would like to see the Awaken skill have a little bit stronger of a chance for that sandstorm. I mean, at 8 stars, it is only 5%, so it's taking it from a 55 to a 60%. I really think for this thing to be viable, maybe make it like a 70% and even increase the attack from it too. Next on the list we have Aruro, and this is a healer inside the game, but still, it just doesn't seem like it's performing up to really where a lot of the other heroes are. Now we will get the passive skill that is going to heal from round 2 to round 5, but other than that, the active skill, it just doesn't seem like for a healer, this one's doing a whole bunch of it. It will give the accuracy to all adjacent heroes, but really when it comes down to it, I want a healer that's going to go and protect me and really focus on making sure that I stay alive. On to the next tier, I'm going to throw Fiona there first, and I know a lot of people kind of rank her a little bit lower, but this is more what I was talking about with the stats of them being too low for Galan, for example. So this one here, we have the Hypnotic Scent, which when cast on an ally and that ally is hit, there's an 80% chance that that enemy is going to get put to sleep. And even the Awaken skill on that too is going to throw another 10% on that. So you figure, a chance to hit with the Sandstorm versus a chance to go and put him to sleep. You can see what a big difference there is just based by Fiona versus Galan. Every other skill seems to have some sort of healing effect at it. And as I said, this is really what I feel like a healer should be inside the game. The next one we have is Ashe, and this is all around just seems like a pretty decent hero. I really like the idea of hitting the front row and dropping their defense. That seems like that could help out a lot for other heroes. The Awaken skill, nothing really too spectacular at 8 stars, but it does look like this hero could get better as it progresses in the game. I also like the idea of throwing some lifesteal in there for the hero with the lowest HP. Seems like it really is just kind of a good, this is where it should be hero. The next one we have is Adina, and this one just feels like a pretty standard across the board crowd control hero. If you haven't seen her a bunch, this is going to be the hero that constantly freezes you, and it seems like it's pretty good at hitting those freezes. This does hit the heroes in the back row, so that is kind of nice for dealing with those squishy ones that are just putting out massive damage, but overall, I think this hero is just standard across the board, and I think it is in a good spot. Moving on to wow impressive, the first one I have is Odelia, and this is one that is really great at shutting down your dealers right at the beginning of the game. Now the active skill of healing for 300% plus giving 2 debuffs is a huge one to begin with. But then going and taking any excess healing and throwing it into a shield on a hero just really takes it to the next level. The one that always gets me is when it's hacking an enemy that's over 70%, stunning them for 1 turn. This constantly shuts down my Kion and just makes it a total annoyance. Even the Awaken skill is nice of reviving that dead hero. If you lose one right in the beginning, popping right back up. This is a huge helper inside the game. I was kind of on the edge of throwing this in over 9,000 or WoW Amazing, so just kind of know that this one's sitting right on that line there for being an impressive hero. Next in WoW Impressive, we have Carmen, and I don't think this is a hero that's really talked about a lot. This is going to be the undead hero that poisons everybody. I think every part of this skill set works pretty well with each other, and this is going to be one of those ones where it's going to be a decent damage over time. The one part I really enjoy about this is that enemies that are inflicted by that poison cannot be revived. So this works great against those light and dark heroes, even Kion, Harfa, or even Odelia trying to bring somebody back in. We're going to even heal ourselves based by how much poison is done, and then right before death, surviving, throwing a shield on. I really would like to see every hero in the game have this kind of skill set where it just seems like all 4 or 5 of those skills just really blend well together. Next on the list we have Void, and honestly this is one that I haven't really played with a lot, but I did kind of notice it here and there when going up against him in battle. I was kind of on the edge of throwing it in It's Okay or WoW Impressive, and after reading the skill set on it, it definitely does seem like this is a little bit over the line on WoW Impressive. I like the idea of the active skill having a good amount of attack, and then converting that attack over into healing all the allies. Even has a little bit of lifesteal in there just to kind of take it up a little bit of an extra notch, and then releasing a crowd control is always a helpful one too. Now the Awaken skill doesn't seem to be anything too spectacular, even though it says that enemies killed by Void cannot be revived. I do like things that aren't able to get revived, but I don't really think Void is going to be doing a lot of the killing for me. As that progresses in star levels, it does get a little bit better, but not really anything exceptional. Although as I said, I think this is just a little bit over that line of making it, wow, it's amazing. Next on the WoW Amazing, we have Lulu, and this is probably going to make a lot of people angry because I think a lot of people would consider her in over 9,000. Now keep in mind, I am a huge Lulu user. I'm still using her in just about every battle I go into, but the attack buffs are nice. There are some things that's just kind of keeping her out of that 9,000, at least at 8 stars. The Awaken skill just giving an energy increase doesn't really seem like enough for me to make it to that next level. Now of course this will scale up as the levels go up, but I would have loved to see at least like a 10% attack increase buff thrown in there, kind of like we're seeing the scaling as we get that to a higher level. We do have a shield and some healing in there, but it seems like besides the attack buff, a lot of these things are energy based. Into the over 9,000, the first one I'm throwing in there is Benzel, and I've said this in the other videos, I don't think a lot of people are getting these star levels high enough to really give these dark light heroes a fair chance. Now this is going to be a hero that mainly uses acid, and like the other ones we've talked about, the skill set on this seems to be pretty decent for everything just kind of syncing together. I really like the idea of acid damage removing shields. We know how annoying that can be, especially going up against a Rochelle, but it really seems like the stacking of this is what takes it to the next level. Just take a look at that death explosion stat, which is going to increase the damage taken for the damage over time. And this is stackable, and if you notice, there's nothing on there that says max stacks. So just think that whenever Benzel uses a normal attack on that same enemy, this is just going to keep on stacking more and more, and when it comes time to using that acid, it's just going to hurt more and more. And for anybody that's been asking, this is the hero that I'm going for inside the event, which, by the way, looks like I am going to be able to grab for being free to play. Now, I'm not even sure how I did this, so if it looks different to you, I totally skipped over Almond. And by the way, this one is just an insane hero altogether. Been using him ever since I got him. With the healing over time, pretty much stacking non-stop on top of your heroes, this is just a healing beast. We've talked about him before plenty of times, but also the removal of debuffs is another nice little tidbit in there, just really seems to make him work well. He does get 100 energy right at the beginning, meaning that this thing's gonna pop off right away. So if you are taking those quick couple of hits in the beginning, it almost seems like you're back to full health in no time. There is also a hot buff that's applied to the hero with the lowest amount of hit points, and this one doesn't need to be adjacent, which means if you do need to separate the group, Almond still is going to work well. Now the Awaken skill isn't anything too impressive, but obviously getting active skills popped off of your ally heroes is going to be pretty easy to do in the first couple of rounds, so that's just going to give even more healing. Now the next one is one we've talked about before, and this is going to be Delica's. What we all love about him is that chain effect. What makes it even better is when we are able to chain, the more people that are in the chain means more attack damage. Now we will have removing debuffs for the same row that Delica's is in, and I know I've said at times that I'm not crazy about certain heroes getting energy, but this one definitely seems to give it with the removal of the debuffs and for normal attacks, which means we're going to be popping that chain lightning even more. But the big one being that when the Awaken skill pops, you're the last one out there. Turning into that giant mode with increased attack and defense is sometimes what makes it a game changer. The final one we have on the list is Selena, and I think the active skill says it enough. Healing 2 enemies with the lowest hit points, slapping a shield on them, and removing all debuffs from those heroes. Now all the other skills seem to be pretty standard across the board, but the Awaken skill of going and reviving one hero, there's no round limit on it. Pretty much, hero dies, active skill gets used, Selena's gonna bring him back in. I think with having the other ones just being standard skills and then those 2 being so exceptional, this definitely puts it in over 9,000. So there you have it, guys. That's my intelligence tier list. If you guys are still pretty new to the game and want to watch me walk through chapters 1 and 2, check out this video right up over here. But if you want to see the agility one that I just posted, see how that matches up for you, take a look over here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.